Miraculous Ladybug fanfiction written and narrated by me, Estefania. Art for the thumbnail image available at my social media linked in the description box below. Go check it out, give me a follow, a like, I really would appreciate that. And while you're at it, make sure to subscribe to this channel, give this video a like if you enjoy it, leave a comment, all that supports me very much. Please enjoy Sour Chapter 2, Enough for You. Marinette Chang, in her bed, feeling miserable. It had been 8 days since Adrian had broken up with her, and she was making zero progress in making herself feel better. Tiki, and all the Kwamis for that matter, had tried to cheer her up with lines along, "He doesn't deserve you. You're so amazing. You don't deserve this. It's his loss." Even though Marinette wanted to believe all that, she couldn't. At least not right now. She loved both Adrian and Kat so much and for so long, and they turned out to be the same person. And that one person had just broken her heart, and much more than that. When all she ever wanted was to be enough for him. Turns out she hadn't been enough. If she had, she wouldn't be laying on her bed under blankets, crying. Marinette needed some sort of way to liberate everything she felt because of the blonde. Those feelings were invading all of her thoughts, and it was all she could focus on. She thought about writing in her diary like she almost did, when her thoughts were too overwhelming, but then she remembered something that would be a much better idea. She would write a song about it. Starting 9 months ago, until her and Adrian started dating, she felt like she was about to shatter into a million little pieces like a glass vase. She had so much responsibility on her, and it was almost impossible to handle. Being the new guardian had firstly caught her completely off guard, plus it unbalanced her whole life. Like she was a scale with equal weight on both platforms, and being the guardian doubled the weight on only one of the platforms, leaving the weight distribution uneven. But then, when she started dating Adrian, after the identity reveal, it was like he was a weight that was missing on the other platform of the scale she was, and he made the weight equal on both ends. Or maybe it was more like he took some of the weight off the heavier side and helped her lift it, making both sides even, stable, and balanced. There was finally a sense of equilibrium in her life, after all the months of dragging uneven weight. But that didn't last long. Adrian left her, abandoned her, not even giving her an actual reason, and now she was more imbalanced and disoriented than ever. Another way she thought of it was her being a compass, but unlike her 14-year-old self felt, Adrian wasn't a statue that drove her crazy, at least not anymore. Of course she still loved him, she did more than anything, and it hurt to think about how much she loved him after just getting her heart ripped apart. But her love for him had matured as they both grew older. She wasn't a compass driven crazy by her statue, but more of he was what kept her pointing north, what kept her steady and looking forward. It was like before the identity reveal, she had a statue next to her at all times that kept her from pointing north, from going forward, from being stable. And then, when they revealed their identities and started dating, it was like that statue that had been there for months had magically disappeared. The brunette could really think of a million other metaphors, but she could also think of the straight-up literal truth. No metaphors, no figurative language, just the simple truth. The simple truth was what she would write. It made her feel transparent and gave her the slightest bit of clarity. So she started writing down on a notebook lyrics that came to mind while really feeling the truth of her situation. She started writing, "You left me there crying, wondering what I'd done wrong. But all I ever wanted was to be enough for you. All I ever wanted was to be enough for you." Marinette already started to feel better. She was an artistic person, so expressing herself through art was second nature to her. This time, music was the best option. Her inspiration didn't stop. She always thought that negative experiences were sad, yes, but also an opportunity to create something amazing. Negative emotions always had such a strong drive. And no wonder Hawkmoths used that to make villains. Let's say you broke my heart, but you broke much more than that. And I don't want your sympathy, I just want myself back. And then, with the creative flow that generated from writing the previous lyrics, she left everything that was left in her to express itself on the bridge. Don't you think I loved you too much to be used and discarded? Don't you think I loved you too much to think I deserve nothing? It seemed those questions were for Adrian, but at the moment Marinette was truly just asking them to herself. And in that moment, a little wave of self-worth hit her. But don't tell me you're sorry, boy. Feel sorry for yourself. 'Cause someday I'll be everything to somebody else. And you'll be the one who's crying. 'Cause all I ever wanted was to be enough. But I don't think anything could ever be enough for you. Yeah, no, nothing's enough for you. That wave of self-worth not only made Marinette feel way better than she had any of the past few days, but also gave us a way of finishing off the song strong. She really felt like things were once again looking forward. But could this good feeling actually last long? Once more, it was made clear to Marinette that good things didn't last long. Apparently, this good feeling could only last for 6 days. Though 6 days had been great in comparison to how the previous week had been. She had started to realize her worth, and even though she felt a little bit of heartache still, and she was okay with it, she knew it was part of the process of getting over Adrian, the process in which she thought she was at least halfway through. But one thing made all her progress drop back to zero. She saw this one thing in multiple forms: newspaper headlines, Instagram stories, tweets, and it was even trending on Twitter. She first saw it in the form of a tweet. The planet had woken up surprisingly early for her, considering her history of running late, and she actually had time to check her phone in the morning. The first thing she saw on her lock screen were her Twitter DM notifications and a couple of Instagram DMs. She clicked on the one that came from Alia, and her blood ran cold. Alia had sent her a tweet from an Adrian News fan page, and it said, "Model Adrian Agreste, son of Gabriel Agreste, speculated to be dating fencer and actress Kagami Tsurugi." So that's why Adrian had broken up with her. He was interested in Kagami, while dating her, so he broke up with her. Even though he didn't even give her a reason, and she had to find out through a tweet Alia had sent her. All the progress she had been focused on keeping up the last few days had been in vain. She was back in square one. Tiki woke up to see her owner looking taken aback, so the little red Kwame went ahead and asked the planet about it. "Marinette, what happened?" asked the Kwame, concerned for her owner. "Adrian and Kagami are dating." "Oh, Marinette." The Kwame went up to Marinette and hugged her cheek. Tiki knew why Adrian had broken up with Marinette, but she couldn't say anything. While Marinette had been focused on dumping all her emotions into a song, Tiki, not being able to stand to see her owner like this, and not knowing why it had happened, she went to see Plag to ask him about it. The Bluebell-eyed didn't even notice her Kwame had left, but Tiki did get an answer to her inquiry. "Psst, Plag!" Whisper yelled the Kwame, holding the power of creation. "Sugar Cube, what are you doing here?" "I just need to know one thing." "What is it, Sugar Cube?" "Why did Adrian break up with Marinette? I mean, we both know he loves her." "Oh, that. It's a long story." "Please tell me, Plag." Okay, so yeah, of course Adrian loves Marinette. He's crazy about her. But what happened is his father kind of forced him to do it, and also to date Kagami. Honestly, I feel really sorry for both of them. "Oh, wait. Then why didn't Adrian say his father was forcing him?" "Oh, his father also forbid him from saying that. He said it has to look like you and Kagami are in love, that it's natural, or something like that. I was busy eating cheese." "Oh, poor Adrian. He's probably also taking it hard." "Yeah, I mean, he's already asleep right now. He just didn't want to stay up anymore." "I feel so bad for both of them." "Yeah, same." "Bye, Plag. I need to get back to Marinette before she notices I'm gone." "Bye, Sugar Cube." While Tiki was flying back to Marinette, she couldn't help but feel sorry for both of them. The Kwame knew just how much they loved each other, and now they were forced to stay apart. All of Marinette's emotions came crashing down like an ocean wave. She thought those feelings were at least 90% non-existent, but it turned out they were actually 90% of fully existent. She still had 45 minutes before she had to get to school. Turns out waking up early worked more in her favor than she thought. So Marinette went down to her desk and started writing about these newfound and resurging feelings. You found someone more exciting the next second you were gone. Some tears started to form in her eyes. and she didn't stop them. Even though she felt completely wrecked, there was still that little light at the end of the tunnel. That one thing that made this all so worth it. She was getting a song out of it. The Marinette found that negative emotions sometimes gave her more inspiration than positive ones. She had gotten a song out of positive emotions before, when her and Adrian were dating, a love song, but now she was getting this song out of this experience that left her crying for days. Marinette decided to start arranging the parts of her song, like which part would be the chorus and which would be the first verse or the bridge. The bluebell-eyed had been quiet for about 15 minutes, so her annoyed groan was enough to get Red Kwame's attention. "What's wrong, Marinette?" "Nothing from what I've written feels right for a first verse." Her tone was slightly annoyed. "Don't worry, if you don't have it right now, Marinette, it will eventually come to you. Trust the process." "If you say so, Tiki." She skipped trying to figure out the first verse and jumped to thinking of the chorus, what would tie her whole song together, the part with the most concentrated emotions. She decided the part she had just written down a few minutes ago would be the perfect start for the chorus. "You found someone more exciting. The next second you were gone, and you left me there crying, wondering what I'd done wrong. But all I ever wanted was to be enough for you. Yeah, all I ever wanted was to be enough for you. I feel like something's missing." "Well, you have to figure out later, Marinette." "Why, Tiki? I'm sure I can figure it out now." "Marinette, class is starting in 8 minutes. Ah, I need to get changed." Marinette quickly changed and got ready. She barely managed to get to class about 7 seconds before the bell rang, but she did it. She wasn't late, which was good considering this was her last year of high school and all the time she was already late or absent because of Kuma texts. It was a blessing Adrian and her weren't in the same class, or even the same school for that matter, taking into account that Adrian was already in college. But apparently it wasn't all a blessing. "Hey girl," said Alia the moment they got out of their first period history class. "Hi, Als." "Okay, so, do you have any plans tonight?" "Well, not really. Why?" Marinette actually did have plans for that night. She was anticipating to work on the first verse of her song, but maybe if she worked on it during her breaks throughout the day, she could do whatever Alia wanted her to do without jeopardizing the progress of her song. "Well, me and the boys were planning to hang out, and I wanted you to come along." "The boys? What do you mean by the boys?" "Just Nino and who?" "Adrian." "Adrian!" "Girl, calm down. Yes, Adrian." "Alia, you know me and Adrian broke up." "Yes, I know. But you can't be like this forever. Besides, he'll probably spend most of the time talking to Nino." She let out a groan. "Fine. But if things get awkward, I'm leaving." "That's totally fine, Now let's go. We have physics class with Miss Mendeleev, and you don't know how she is when students are late to her class." She knew she shouldn't go. They had just broken up about 2 weeks ago. It would probably be extremely uncomfortable for both of them. But at the same time, there was still that little light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe when she saw him again in person, she would gain more inspiration for her song. Lunch break. It was the perfect time for her to focus on writing, so she sat down on a bench at the park in front of the school and let her emotions flow while she transferred them into paper as she wrote them down in her notebook in the form of lyrics. She started remembering little bits of their relationship, like how she wore makeup just to feel like she was enough for him, because a little part deep inside her always told her she didn't deserve Adrian. All the years of unrequited love had led her to believe she wasn't enough. So when they finally started dating and the years of pining after him ended, she felt like she needed to try harder, look better, just to be enough for him. It turned out that not even that was enough. Even though she was always the one to be told she was never satisfied, Adrian was the one who truly was never satisfied. She started transforming that memory, that emotion, into a verse. "I wore makeup when we dated, just to be enough for you. Tried so hard to do everything that you like. Just..." She still didn't have the rest of that line, so she decided to leave it blank for now, and came back to it later. She came back to the chorus and added the small bit that she was missing. And you always say I'm never satisfied, but I don't think that's true. She then started remembering all the little moments in those years of unrequited love, and how obsessed she was with him, how she knew him so well, how she knew every detail about him. She knew how he took his coffee, black, which she never could understand, but over time she just associated black coffee with him. She knew all his favorite songs, his favorite artists, because she knew that remembering those little details made him feel special. But apparently that he felt special didn't mean she was enough for him. And I know how you took your coffee and your favorite songs by heart. Stupid, emotional, obsessive little me. I knew from the start this is exactly how you leave. There was always that little part of her that told her he would find someone better and leave her. She always ignored it, thinking he loved her too much to do that. But now, evidently, that little part of her, her gut feeling, her instincts, were right. He had loved her, just because he found someone better, more exciting. Now she knew no matter how hard she tried, how much effort she put in, she would never be enough for Adrian. And in a way, she was okay with that. You say I'm never satisfied, but that's not me, it's you. 'Cause all I ever wanted was to be enough for you. But I don't think anything could ever be enough for you. No, nothing's enough for you. Then Marinette then realized how recurring the thought of her being enough for Adrian was, and thus the title Enough for You came to be. She was just missing her second verse, so she put all focus on that and tried to use any memory, any idea that came to mind. The blue-eyed still couldn't believe how the blonde had just broken up with her like that. He continuously stated that he loved her, but it turned out that he didn't even care half of what he said he did. She loved him blindly, but again, not even that was enough for him. Yeah, you couldn't have cared less about someone who loved you more. Then she saw one paragraph that fit together like two puzzle pieces with the one she had barely finished writing down. She wrote it down on a separate page where she was writing in an arranged manner. She stared down at the page as she read her own handwriting. She was basically finished with the lyrics. Maybe she would make some adjustments along the way, but for now she was fulfilled with that she had accomplished. She finished just in time as lunch was about to end. It was 4 p.m. the moment Alia told her to meet at the park to hang out with Adrian. This was the moment she was slightly dreading. But Alia was right. She couldn't be like this forever. This could be good for her. And even if it went badly and was awkward, then more inspiration for more songs, so it was a win-win situation, right? That was her thought until she actually saw Adrian and feelings came flooding back, drowning her in an ocean of memories, emotions, and just simple heartache. A part of her betraying her every wish, the part that would always love Adrian unconditionally. But there was also a part that just wanted to dislike Adrian for just leaving her like that. And then there was also that part that said they could just remain neutral acquaintances. Not hate him, but also not love him the way she always did. But obviously her heart betrayed her. There was a war inside her, trying to determine how she felt. But at the end of the day, all she could process was how much her feelings for Adrian had changed, but at the same time hadn't changed at all. Thank you so much for listening to Chapter 2, Enough for You, of Sour. Part 3 is on the way. Meanwhile, you can check out my Instagram or my other social media where I have a lot more content. And I hope you enjoyed this chapter of Sour. Bye!